Addicts, and this is our start 'em sit 'em for Week 9.
All right, teams on bye this week: New Orleans, San Diego, San Francisco, Carolina. Sit 'em. First game, Jets-Bills. I'm taking the Jets.
Taking the Jets?
Yeah.
I like the Bills in this one.
Yeah, coming off the loss.
They lost last week. They're at home, so I like the Bills to bounce back.
So fantasy-wise, I'm saying start Brett Favre. You saw what Chad Pennington did last week. He was throwing the ball all over the field. I like Coles and Cutler in this game. Do not like the running game. I say sit Thomas Jones and Leon Washington.
And for Buffalo, I actually say you sit Marshawn Lynch this week.
Yeah, he hasn't been producing. He's getting touchdowns almost every game, but his numbers are down. I do like Lee Evans. He's producing every week, and I kind of like Trent Edwards in this game. The Jets aren't really stopping anybody in the air. Next game, Detroit, Chicago. I'm taking your boys.
Of course, I'm taking Chicago.
So I'm starting your Bears. Forte, Orton, Olsen, even Rashid Davis. The Bears receivers have been so hot and cold all year, but he's been a guy who's been coming out last couple games performing. I think he's stepping up ahead of Marty Booker.
Well, I like all those guys, but I think I have a surprise start this week.
Who's that?
Devin Hester. If he is healthy, I like Hester. He could get a touchdown as a receiver. Of course, he's a returner. Not only that, but they've talked about using him in the Wildcat formation in Chicago.
That would be nasty.
So that could be interesting.
And sit Detroit. Calvin Johnson, you can start him if you want. Charles Tillman's going to punch him in the mouth.
Start Calvin.
Yeah, he's going to.
Calvin's been producing. Since Roy's gone, he's getting the looks now. So
he's all they've got, but still, the Bears are going to kill him.
And, of course, you sit all Detroit running backs.
Jacksonville, Cincinnati.
All right, of course, Cincinnati hasn't won a game, so Jacksonville, I like Jacksonville to win this one.
I got Jacksonville, too, even though they looked bad last week.
They did.
I still got Maurice Jones-Drew, David Garrard, and Matt Jones, who I can't believe is still in the league. He's only got 2 touchdowns on the year, but he's the number 1 receiver. If they do throw the ball, which they don't much, he's going to get it. I don't like Fred Taylor, as usual. He's banged up and not producing at all. Same thing with both of Cincy's running backs, Chris Perry and Seth Benson. Just drop them. I said that last week. They didn't do anything. Drop them.
I agree with you there. As for the Bengals, the only start for this week is TJ.
I agree. I thought Fitz loved Chad early, but last week he was like 30-something little yards. It's horrible.
All right, next game we got Baltimore at Cleveland.
I'm taking Baltimore. Cleveland came out, big surprise win last week. Jacksonville, I guess a surprise. Jacksonville might be up or down, but I like Baltimore in this game. I like McGahee, and I like Derek Mason, even though he had a pitiful outing last week.
I actually like Cleveland this week.
Yeah?
Yeah, the Browns are at home, and I think they're going to take care of business and beat the Ravens. The only guy that I like for Cleveland this week is Braylon.
Yeah.
I say you sit Jamal Lewis going against that Ravens defense.
Sit Jamal Lewis.
They're stingy with the running game.
I say sit Derek Anderson, too. Even though I do like Lewis and maybe Winslow, I think that he's going to get tore up with that Baltimore D, throwing picks, getting hit. And I say sit McClain, who has proved useless in the last 3 weeks, and Ray Rice, who's getting carries, but Willis is the man. He's getting the load. The other 2 guys, I don't even know why you have them.
I think DA might be an option this week, but, of course, I like Cleveland to win,
right.
So they have to get points somewhere. All right, next game we have Green Bay at Tennessee.
I picked against Tennessee last week. I was wrong. Picking against them again. I just don't see them as an undefeated team. Coming off the bye, I like Ryan Grant, I like Jennings, and I like Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I think Tennessee's defense is stronger than Green Bay's offense.
It's tough.
And
it's tough.
Green Bay will be one-dimensional, and I think they're going to force Rodgers into mistakes.
So
I like Tennessee to stay undefeated and go 8-0.
And so from Tennessee, I think they're going to put points on the board in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I like Johnson, I like White, and I like Bo Scaife.
For Green Bay, the only start I have this week is Greg Jennings.
Yeah. I do say sit Driver, sit Donald Lee.
Yeah, of course you have to sit Ryan Grant.
Arizona, St. Louis.
All right, for Arizona, I like Kurt Warner. I like Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden. I
also like Tim Hightower because I'm picking Arizona to win this game. They've been giving him the goal line carries on a regular basis, and he's getting the majority of the carries now away from the goal line. Edge is just diminishing every week.
I still like Arizona to win this game, and I think it'll be mainly with their passing game.
I do say sit Steve Breaston. When Bolden came back, Breaston lost all his value. Same thing with old Torrey Holt. With the emergence of Donnie Avery, Torrey Holt has little to no value, so I say sit him.
All right, next game we have Houston at Minnesota.
I'm taking Houston. They've won 3 in a row. That passing attack is deadly. You cannot stop Andre Johnson right now. If Matt Schaub can stay on his feet, then Kevin Walters is going to produce, Owen Daniels, and of course Andre, who is sick.
Well, Houston, they looked good last week, but it was against the Bengals.
Right.
And I think going into Minnesota this week, they're going to have some trouble.
Yeah.
And I like Minnesota to pull it out.
I do like Peterson and Bernard Berrian this week. And I don't like the running backs coming out of Houston, even though I think they're going to win. I don't like Steve Slayton or Amon Green because they're getting the carries kind of 50-50, and it's really hurt Slayton's value. Tampa Bay, Kansas City.
All right. Of course, I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Yep, me too.
And for Tampa Bay, I say you start the running backs. Graham and Dunn is supposed to be back this week. If he's healthy, I say start Dunn too.
You know, that's kind of a Tennessee-like situation. Warwick Dunn's going to take you down the field. Ernest Graham's going to punch you in. Kind of hurts Ernest's value a little bit compared to what we thought coming into the season. But he's still a start. I'm starting also Dwayne Bowe, Tony Gonzalez. Those are my only starts in the game. I hate the rest of both offenses. Galloway is back and horrible as ever. Garcia, still don't like, and I think he's through for over 200. But LJ got charges. He went to jail or something.
He could be
turned himself in.
Facing a suspension coming up.
Miami and Denver. I have Denver winning this game.
Denver's defense is suspect, but I actually think they can put enough points on the board to beat Miami.
I think this is going to be a really high-scoring game. I like Cutler, Marshall, Royal, Scheffler, all guys coming back after the bye week healthy. For Miami, I like Ronnie Brown, Ted Ginn, 175 yards. That's nasty.
And if Tampa's there, don't start Ted Ginn. If Tampa's out, Ginn could be a start.
They put him all over the field. They'll have a hard time chasing him around with Champ all night. He's going to get his looks after that huge game. 7 for 175. I even like Pennington because Denver can't stop anybody.
Well, I like Pennington for that reason. The only other start I have for Miami this week is Ronnie.
Sit all of Denver's running backs. Atlanta, Oakland. I'm taking Atlanta.
Yeah, of course you have to take Atlanta. Oakland looks bad.
Oakland's terrible. Sit all of them. I don't even know what their running back situation looks like right now. I think Fargus is getting the carries, but I don't care. For Atlanta, though, go to work. Roddy White, Matt Ryan, even Michael Turner. I don't say start Michael Turner much, but start Michael Turner.
I like Turner this week, and Roddy, he proved me wrong last week, so I say start Roddy this week. All right, next game, we have Dallas at the Giants.
I took the Giants.
I'm definitely taking the Giants. You don't know what's going to happen at quarterback for Dallas. Could be Bollinger, coming in if Brad Johnson can't get it together.
I'm saying sit T.O. I've never said sit T.O. in my life, but he was
this would
invisible.
Be a first for me, too. But, as long as Romo is out, I don't like T.O.
I do like Roy Williams, though, because Brad Johnson only can throw about 14 yards now, and Roy Williams is maybe the best in the league and just going up and grabbing a ball, like that touchdown he had last week. I got start Marion Barber in this game. I also have start Brandon Jacobs. Is Burris, what's going on with Plaxico Burris?
I'm going to have some faith in him. I'll say start him again this week.
Philadelphia, Seattle.
All right, I got to take Philly.
I'm taking Philly, too. Even though Seattle came out and beat the darn 49ers.
For Philly, I like Westbrook, and I like McNabb this week.
I even like Deshaun Jackson. The receivers are really taking a hit because they're all healthy. Kevin Curtis is back. Reggie Brown is coming back. And so, the ball's getting spread around. Deshaun's still the deep threat. Philly could put up a lot of points in this game. Sit all of Seattle's wide receivers. Tight ends. Running backs.
Sit Julius. I do like Weaver in this one. I think they'll be able to move the ball a little bit, not much, and when they do get yards, it'll be behind Weaver.
All right, New England, Indianapolis. Used to be an awesome game. Used to be the best game of the year, better than the Super Bowl.
All right, I'm gonna have to have some faith in Peyton Manning to come back this week. I like the Colts.
I'm taking the Colts too, man. I think New England is a suspect 5-2. I definitely think that Matt Castle, Randy Moss, and Wes Welker are going to put up points this week because I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but I think they're going to lose.
Well, the only starts I have for New England would be Randy Moss and Ben Jarvis.
You like Ben Jarvis?
I like him this week. So the Colts have been giving up a lot of yards on the ground, touchdowns, so I think Ben Jarvis gets in the end zone. I actually say sit Harrison.
Yeah.
I think New England's going to be physical on defense, and I think the only receiver that'll have a good game will be Reggie Wayne. I like Clark, and I think Manning and Clark have found a rhythm lately where him and Harrison have not been on the same page.
Dominic Rhodes ran pretty tough and had some decent production against a really tough Tennessee defense. Give him a tentative start.
All right, with the Monday night game, we have Pittsburgh at Washington.
I'm taking Washington. I think Pittsburgh is falling off.
Pittsburgh is a tough team, but I think you give the advantage to Washington playing at home this week. So I'm going to have to go with the Redskins.
I like Portis this week, even though he's a little hurt. Santana Moss had a huge week last week, scoring on the punt return, I think. I think start him as well. I like Nate Washington. Santonio Holmes apologized for smoking reefer, and I guess he's coming back. But even when Santonio Holmes was there, Nate was the one producing. They go deep to him twice a game. He's going to catch one of them.
And my only other start for Pittsburgh would be Hines Ward.
And I agree with that. Even though I have Washington winning this game, I say sit Jason Campbell. Pittsburgh's going to get after him. I think he might have a tough day.
Yeah, for Washington, I just like Portis and Cooley this week.
All right, so that's our start 'em sit 'em for Week 9. Check out the website, fantasyaddicts.com, thefantasyaddicts.com. Hit us at our Gmail account, thefantasyaddicts@gmail.com.